Alright, Savage GM coming at you with another video. This time it's World War II Operation WhiteBox. This is by Pete Spahn of Small Niche Games, and it's compatible with Swords of Wizardry WhiteBox, of course. You can see the cover there. It's got a lot of action going on, and this guy here, he's seen better days. Hopefully he'll pull through, but I'm not sure. He's got a lot of stuff that's probably not supposed to be out like that. But yeah. There's the spine, kind of hard to see, and then you've got this big kind of shot on the back, which I really like that he did that. Again, you know, I like stuff differently on the back, and I thought he did a good job with that. Pretty cool picture there. It's about 167 pages, so it's not too big. But this is a completely self-contained World War II OSR role-playing game for your World War II needs, pretty much. This is the black and white version of the softback. I also have the color version of the softback. It's a little bit muted. It gives it more of a grittier look to the front, and but it is color inside with black and white art, obviously. And then this is the big boy right here. This is the hardback premium paper. I love that the spine on that stands out very boldly. This is a chunky book. This is a meaty book at that page count for being in hardback. So it really kind of stands out amongst your other white box books. And let's talk about it. Well, I've had the privilege to play in the playtest for this game, and I was able to playtest this with Kelly Davis, who wrote up some Norway adventures that are available, and I also played in mini games with Pete, playtesting this game as well, and giving feedback to help this game get out there to everybody. So I enjoy World War II, like many of us do. I've dabbled in Flames of War, miniature role-playing, miniature tabletop games. And of course, you know, it's a niche type of market there, but a lot of guys kind of like the melding of the two, and this definitely does that. So let's go through kind of the meat of it. It uses WhiteBox, so you know what you're going to be dealing with. You're going to be dealing with a D20 and a D6. And that's it. I'll tell you, when the first time I played WhiteBox, it was, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was this. This was the first time I really played with WhiteBox. Maybe it was a fantasy game. I can't remember. I played so many. But I just love the fact that you just have a D6 for damage for all the different weapons and stuff. And you got a D20. I knew exactly, you know, there might be a minus or a plus or something, but it just was very easy. I just, you know, and that's what WhiteBox is supposed to be, a very intro type game to role-playing and to, you know, D&D type of gameplay, as it obviously emulates original D&D. So you've got a map here, you know, of the European theater in 1944. It shows the vast arm of the Nazis and how much they took over land-wise. A great forward here by James Spahn, and then it gets right into it. So obviously it's going to be WhiteBox, so you're not dealing with a whole bunch of +2, +3. You're dealing with a bunch of +1s. Some of that black and white art that's great in it. Universal attribute bonus that we all know, and then our standard kind of stats that we're used to with WhiteBox if you've played that. And then here is our boys there with the glory there. And one thing I really like is that you play Special Forces Operatives. Okay, that's going to be the main thing you need to keep in your mind when you're playing this. You are the best of the best, all right? You come from all sorts of different nationalities. You can pick or choose. There's a nationality table right here. And then what type of profession you came from, blue collar, white collar, and it's got a couple of choices for each. And then maybe that gives you a bonus or so if you're trying to do something that you might be able to correlate back to that profession that you had when you were, you know, back in your native land. But you are the best of the best, and so that's going to show in a lot of what happens in this game. It's got a military rank, but that doesn't really play in too much because you may have people from other nations that are together, so it's not going to play a big part in it. But it is something to obviously get yourself, you know, get that more military feel to it. You've got a great note here on gender roles, which is fantastic, and then it goes right to the character classes. So with the character classes, I'll just go through a couple of them here. First, you got your charmer. Okay, this guy is going to be, or lady, is going to be your kind of face character, and it's a very good class to have. And if you notice, they only have 5 levels, and of course, you know, it wasn't that the war didn't last that long, and this keeps it within that realm of you know, men and women that were in the war and that short time span, and I think it's perfect. I think he really nailed that with this game, just the 5 levels, and it's going to be great for one-shots, and it's going to be great for long-term campaigns too, but I think 5 levels is definitely a good option that he did there. So the Charmer is going to be your friendly character. What I really like about this class is that they, in essence, force another, like an NPC, to make a saving throw versus their charms and, you know, how good they are at deceiving them, maybe, you know, slick tongue or something like that. And I think that's really neat that they force a saving throw on the NPC. So that's your face character. You get your combat engineer. This is going to be your guy who likes to blow stuff up. He likes to fix stuff. Your grease monkey. He likes to jury rig stuff, and jury rig is going to be a great skill for that class to have. And you'll see where these all kind of come together and really cover all the bases. Now, all these guys you know, all these classes, they can sneak. They can do everything that a normal soldier can do, and they can do it extremely well. So that's really what you need to keep in mind whenever you're playing this game. Is that they can all do the normal basic things very well. Here's your grunt. I'm going to start off with 2 hit dice. Where is he? There he is. Start off with 2 hit dice, and it's very tough and can attack more, you know, more targets, obviously, at lower hit dice. Then you get your Maquis, the French Resistance. I really love this class as well. This gives you a lot of role-playing opportunities, and they can cobble stuff together, such as items, stuff you may need, conceal items, and they have contacts, obviously, within the French Resistance and maybe in other areas as well. The sniper. Sniper is great. We all love snipers, okay? And one thing I really like about the sniper is that the sniper, they have a preferred weapon, but they also are very good at concealing themselves, but likewise, they're good at spotting ambush. I would set up here if I was going to ambush somebody. That's what the sniper does in this. Since they can all sneak pretty well, you know, really great, actually, the sniper is the one that says, whoa, let's not go there. This is where I would snipe somebody. This is where I would attack somebody and set up an ambush. I think that's a great angle at the sniper. And I think that's just really genius on that part. The Tactician is the class that I started off playing first. What I like about the Tactician is the Tactician can rally up his troops. I always love character classes that can kind of boost everybody except himself. It's a, you know, a selfless class, in essence. But they also have a skill called Superior Planner, which lets them pretty much ask the you know, the game master, the referee in this case, you know, does my character see a certain way to tackle this situation? And that's where the referee and the Tactician player, they're going to have to kind of talk back and forth about, you know, what would be a good plan. It's a very good class for the referee to kind of give hints and tips about how to maybe tackle something or the options they may have. The Wheelman is great. Of course, it's going to be a much-needed class. They are going to be your go-to for fixing vehicles. The combat engineer can do that as well, but they know all about vehicles. They can they have a skill called Fast and Furious. They can pretty much each turn they can enhance something on the vehicle. The armor class, to hit, the movement, the weapon damage. So they can do something each time. You know, each turn that kind of helps them. You know, if you need more armor, if you need something, a little boost right there. Then they have combat driving, which gives them +2 to initiative in vehicle combat, which is a whole vehicle combat section in this. And overall, it just gives them that kind of performance that they're going to use, you know, you're going to need when you're trying to outmaneuver other vehicles. The next class is called the Überläufer. And the Überläufer is it's usually an Eastern European soldier. They defected from the German Nazis. They hate the Nazis. And they were usually conscripted by the Germans, and they get a lot of bonuses when fighting Nazis. They also know how to survive very well. So they spent weeks living off the land as they defected from the Nazi army, and they're tough and they like harsh living outside type stuff. So that's going to be your classes. And one thing that he told me about, and you know, when I thought, I was like, wow, that is really great. So you've got 3 different levels of play. You've got traditional, heroic, and inglorious. With each one of those, the only thing that really changes is the player's hit dice. Okay, so at traditional, you've got your normal type of traditional D6 that you're going to be rolling for hit dice. At heroic, you're going to be at D10, and in Glorious you're going to have a D20. Now a lot of people like to have max hit points when starting out, so that could really give you a lot of hit points. When I first played it was the heroic level, and I found it to be perfect. We were able to take some damage and deal some damage out too. At the end of the adventure, when we were escaping what we had, the chaos we had created, we were hurt, we weren't killed, but we were all had wounds, and some of us were limping back, grabbing up other dudes. It was a very, very cinematic type of damage we were able to take. But we were able to take down lots of Nazis, blow them up good like they need, and it was very, very fun. So, and then here it has it, character retirement, 1945. All right. So then you're going to go into your normal section, your gear. Great layout there of gear, your weapons, machine guns, heavy weapons. And then you have a section all on playing the game. And this is going to be, of course, your meat of your rules. Here it's going to tell you about the Special Forces training. This is going to tell you about a rule that they have that's specific for your players. If they're trying to do anything heroic, anything that kind of puts them ahead of normal troops, it's going to be pretty much something that is, they're super fit, anything they need to do physically, hotwire a car, maybe try to throw something into, like, just the window of a tank or something. Something very, very cinematic and something they can do. They're able to do it on a D20 unless they roll a 1. So they're going to do that a lot of times. So it's going to give those players the ability to really say, I'm going to go for this heroic thing and try to do this because I've got a pretty much a 19 and 20 chance to get this done. So it's going to lead to a lot of cool stuff. And on the flip side, a normal soldier would only be able to succeed at doing something like that on a 1 in 20. So this separates those kind of two categories of the special forces guys from the regular soldiers. And then you're going to go to everything. And I really like the way this is laid out. Hidden things, surprise, how much can I carry? Easy headers there to understand what's going on. How to recruit help. And there's something called the gut check. Now, the gut check is something where you're going to roll something if it's going to be like an impossible task and it needs a sheer will of force to accomplish. Something way beyond outside the norm. And it's going to be based off your level. So it's going to be a D6 based off your level. And since you only have 5 levels, you're going to be able to get 5 out of 6 chance once you get 5th level. But right here, charging a machine gun nest unscathed through a hail of bullets, picking up 3 live grenades and tossing them back at the Germans. So something that's super, super heroic cinematic type thing that's going to be difficult to do. You can make that gut check to try to do it. That's what it's all about. Instead of actually doing it, this is just even the ability to do it. Then all about recruiting help. Your Maquis is going to help you there with the French resistance. And then you've got a great thing here called Trial by Fire. This is an optional rule, and this is in essence like a 0-level funnel. This is where you take 3 characters, you're going to put them in just the worst of war and see who's able to survive that conflict. And that's going to be the character you play with. You give each of your characters a 15 and one of 3 different stats, strength, constitution, or dexterity. And then that's the character that comes out of that conflict. And I really think that's a neat addition that might be overlooked by some people who get this get this game. So personal combat, ascending, descending armor class. Of course, a lot of people play WhiteBox. It's so easy with ascending armor class. You've got rules for burst fire, suppressive fire. Suppressive fire is going to be a real. It's always been something in games that's just been difficult. Games have botched it. I think this is a neat new take on it, and it works. Where you lay down a suppressive fire round after round, and they take a variety of different bullets, anywhere from 0 to 3 bullets. That's in that kind of cone shape of death. But that really is going to be and what a perfect picture he put up there with the suppressive fire. That guy just going to town with the Thompson submachine gun there. Rules for different, if you're doing suppressive fire on suppressive fire. Saving throws help you take less damage. You can duck for cover if somebody's doing suppressive fire. So this is going to be something, might be fiddly for some old gamers, but if you really want to delve into it, this is really the meat of war combat, is laying down that suppressive fire, flanking the enemy, and putting them down. Concealment, impact, explosive, timed explosives. It's got all that stuff you're going to need. Saving throws versus explosives. How do you heal? There's a first aid skill I really like that lets you kind of walk off the damage. And you can heal 1d2 hit points after combat. And then you've got a great section on vehicle combat. Now this is one thing about the book I think is really neat. Pete decided that he was going to put stuff in there and he wasn't going to stop, it seems. and it just keeps going, and it gives you more and more and more and more. And that's one thing I really like about this book. So, rules for vehicle-on-vehicle combat. And these are all theater of the mind. That's something that you really need to take into account with Operation WhiteBox. A lot of this is theater of the mind gameplay. Okay, strafing runs for planes. A optional 20s in 1 vehicle combat damage thing you can roll up whenever your vehicles take damage. Your vehicles have different hit points, they've got armor class, movement, different weapons, and I really like the way that he did this reinforced hull rule, in which stronger and stronger tanks get better and better reinforced armor and reinforced hulls, and it lets them take, only certain weapons can penetrate their hull, and unless you get around the back, the side of them. And that's really, really great, especially for those guys who love tabletop miniature World War II games. And then there's modifications if you need to modify your vehicle, if you want to give them a better hull or a supercharged engine. Some really neat options there, and everybody loves those options. And then he really went out of his way with a great gameplay example. I'm looking here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's about 10 pages of guys playing this game back and forward, round after round, and it's really thorough, and it's a very, very valuable thing for us. So then you've got your NPCs. You've got your normal German soldier and your SS soldier, your SS officer, Gestapo. It's got some normal animals and stuff like that that the players may come across. And then it goes into covert special forces equipment. So this is a great section of a lot of those neat type of items that maybe the special forces had that normal soldiers didn't. And then he tells you all about the World War II campaign. Now this section here, so this is all the game right here that you can see right here, okay? And then all this section here is just such great added-on bonus for this book. It tells you, what time periods do you want to play in? What type of units? Tips for running a campaign in World War II. Utilizing the class abilities. Encouraging role play. He's got a note here about talking, using some language about Nazis and stuff, and how that might not go well over at the table if you've got some people that might have some sort of heritage. They don't care for you to use that language. I think that's neat that he put that in there. He talks a little bit, a note about the Holocaust, and playing up the atmosphere, historical accuracy or inaccuracy. So just a huge section. And then he goes through each of the different type of Allied Special Forces branches that there are, such as Special Air Service, the SAS, British Commandos, Long Range Desert Group, which I played in one of the adventures that he did for that, which was in Africa. It was fantastic. And that's what we played with, and we had some contacts with some Kiwi soldiers. That was pretty cool. U.S. Airborne Division. So he gives you each kind of, so if you wanted to choose certain ones out of those lists to have your player be. Resistance forces, such as the ones in the Polish resistance, the Norwegian resistance. It just goes on and on and on. German special forces. Different types of actions that maybe the special forces accomplished. Support missions, their briefing, their insertion, execution of it, the extraction plans. And then there's types of support missions. I really like this. Assassination. Boy, if only that guy could have taken that shot right there. Assassinations, capture, espionage, extractions. Again, liaisons, misinformation, propaganda, rescue. A huge list of stuff. And then he's got other styles of play. Furlough and shore leave, crewmen, German commandos, Red Army. And I'm just going on and on here. And then he's got a great section, alternate dimensions. Okay, tells you how to mix World War II and Swords and Wizardry. Break out your Swords and Wizardry book. How to meld it with White Star. Okay, a little section there about White Star. And then he has a World War II timeline. Again, these are just things that I was like, wow, he really went to town and gave us a lot of information here. So got that. Historical Special Forces actions that actually happen. Operation Claymore, Operation Josephine, Archery. Tells you about these different things if you want to put your players into those different operations. So just so useful. There's all this here, different operations. Tells you about them and how you can, you could put your players into that. Here's the complete adventure, Resistance at the Pontville Bridge. Okay, a complete adventure for you to start and get going. And it's got a great map there of this town. And another one. And so really enjoy that adventure reading through it. He's got all the NPCs laid out, and then he's got mass combat rules. So mass combat rules are very easy. And one thing I really liked about it, if you go and destroy a bridge, it may hamper something on the mass combat side of the game. If you go and destroy some sort of radio tower, or disrupt some sort of fuel supply line, it may do something to affect mass combat. And all it is rolling a die, totaling up the modifiers, and whoever rolls highest wins with those modifiers. So your special forces guys can actually go and do stuff to affect the war. I think that's really great. And the mass combat rules aren't so bogged down and big that you're like, oh, those are difficult, I don't want to do those. Easy. And it's something that you can just do as a real small thing if you're running as a referee. Say, hey, you guys did that, just to let you know, you were successful, and that helped win and pushed over the tide there for the allies to win. And then here's a section, of course, that I really like, the mini settings. And this is a picture right here. I asked him to kind of do was a 3. Well, I just said I want pictures of these cool mini settings. So you've got space. You've got, right here, you've got the occult, and you've got super science. And that's a picture of me, by the way, in the middle. That's what I say. It's probably not true, but that's what I say. So you've got Nazi super science. And this is going to allow you to have, all sorts of cool type of equipment, jetpacks, time travel device, mechanized suit, like a hydraulic armor. Nazi scientists have developed like a way to keep brains alive. So a bunch of stuff like that. And then it's got cyborgs, all sorts of super science creatures in it, reptoids, hybrids of human and animals, tons of stuff there. And then, of course, one I really like is Nazi occult. And, of course, with both of these, you're right into Wolfenstein territory right there. And those video games, and how great they are. It's got a lot of occult dragons that you may have to, golems, vampires, ghosts, so it kind of melds in with that kind of swords and wizardry fantasy type element too. But it tells you a little bit about the occult factions that are there. And so if you want to play that, and everybody does. You talk about World War II role-playing games, people are going to want to play, super science, and they want to play occult. And Pete was smart in the fact that he added it in there, and because people are going to ask for it. The very first thing, oh, does this have occult or some sort of supernatural element to it? It does. And then a very cool thing that I didn't really think of, Galaxy War 1939 Space Operations, right there. So it's got space, pretty much spaceships, interstellar rail systems, all sorts of stuff to put Nazis in space and to hopefully destroy said Nazis. All right? It's got a couple of alien critters in there as well, and a couple of vehicles from the 1939 Galaxy War. An awesome afterword here for a family member that served in World War II. And then at the end, you've got some advertisements for some World War II stuff. So, the thing about this game is, of course, I'm hyping it big. I've been playing a bunch with it. I've been working on it with him, but he's done so much work, and that's really what I want to say about it. This is, in my opinion, I've told him this, to his face. This is the best product. The quality that he's done with this book is just really, really a step up. You can tell it's been a real labor of love. And whenever I looked through it, when he wanted me to look for errors, there was practically none. I mean, his editing skills and the way that how easy it is for his writing. This is the best product I think that he's put out for his small niche games line. It's, in my opinion, I don't need another World War II game. I probably will never buy another World War II game. That's all I need is right there, is Operation WhiteBox. Because I don't need a game for World War II that's extremely detailed. Certain people would love, love that, and that's all. Go for it, But for me, I like playing kind of heroic, action-packed, cinematic World War II adventures, and this exactly does that for me. This is all I need. Never need another World War II book. He's put out a bunch of adventures for it. Kelly Davis has put out those Norway adventures. There's more stuff coming out. He's been very, very active with this game. This is another self-promoting video, but I've loved being a part of the communication back and forth about what I think about it, what works, what doesn't, what should be changed. And he's also working on a whole other book for tactical, miniature kind of expansion to the game. So if you do want to use miniatures, and you are one of those guys who like to play tabletop miniature games, it's going to be a great melding of the two with with rulings for distance and movement and stuff for miniatures, and that's going to be coming out sometime in the future. It's going to be another great one. And then down the road there could be adventures for the occult side of it, or the super science, or the space side, on top of all the adventures he's already put out. And I just think it's a great OSR product. You can add so much stuff to it. You can do so much stuff with it. And you take some of the other games that are out there for WhiteBox, meld them all together, and you've got a great, easy World War II role-playing game with Operation WhiteBox. So I hope this has been informative for you. I know I kind of went through it all there, but you're going to be doing tons of stuff, blowing up dams, blowing up bridges, parachuting in, capturing maybe someone, freeing someone. There's so much stuff that you can do with this. And if you want to add those elements of the fantasy, the fantasy elements into it, you can. The space elements, whatever you want to do with WhiteBox and the options that are out there, sky's the limit. So there it is, Operation WhiteBox. Thanks for watching. See you for the next video.